Greetings, YouTube. Today's news item is out of Nashville, Tennessee, and I apologize to Tennessee. I seem to be picking on them lately. It's not by choice. It seems that a pilot for an Atlantic Southeast Airlines plane refused to take off because there were two passengers on the plane that he felt might make the other passengers uncomfortable. Now, these two passengers, what were they? They were two Imams, two Muslim clerics dressed in traditional Indian and Arab garb. Stop for a second. Think about that. Two people wearing traditional garb, sitting on a plane, wanting to get from point A to point B on a commercial flight. These two individuals had passed through security. So the Transportation Security Administration had already said that these two people were safe to be put onto a commercial flight. They had been vetted, if you will. And yet, the pilot would not fly with them on board, even though the airline spoke to him for over a half hour in an attempt to convince him to please take these two people to their destination. He refused. He returned to the terminal, they disembarked, and they were eventually placed on another plane. Now, where were they headed? To a conference dealing with anti-Muslim intolerance. The irony, it is bitter and sweet. I don't know how you're going to spin this. I can't figure out how anybody in a PR department wouldn't look at this turd fest sitting in front of them and just throw their hands up in the air and walk away. How do you make this look good? I can't think of how to do it. And I think the only recourse that the airline should have is to fire this pilot. Not to suspend him, not to give him a paid vacation, but to fire him. Because this airline is going to get sued. And I hope that these two Imams hire themselves a good lawyer, and that person digs their heels in and fights tooth and nail for his clients. Because this pilot is a bigot. Yes, I am labeling him. Not because I choose to, not because I am looking at the man and saying, I think this person is a bigot. No, because this person has stepped forward and declared to the whole world, I am a bigot. He committed an absolute blatant act of intolerance and prejudice here, telling two Imams that they may not fly on a commercial public plane because the pilot felt that the other passengers might be made uncomfortable. Now, I think on a deeper level, this says something about the pilot's trust of the TSA, because he doesn't seem to trust them. He seems to think that even though these two individuals have passed through security and are visibly attired in a manner that makes them stand out in a crowd, that they are still somehow a potential risk to his plane. And I can't fathom how they could be. Do you know who the best possible terrorist is out there, folks? The best look to get onto a piece of public transportation and wreak havoc? That would be my wife. A short, middle-aged, white woman. No one is going to suspect someone like that of terrorism. Do you know who isn't going to commit a terrorist act in public? Two Imams dressed in traditional garb, because they're going to stand out like a sore thumb. Terrorists don't want to stand out. Terrorists want to blend in. This pilot, however, couldn't shelve his own personal prejudices long enough to do his job. So I think he should suffer the consequences. We as a nation should require that he suffer the consequences. He has the freedom of speech he wants. He can publicly state, I don't trust those two. Cool. And then you have the private sector stepping up to the bat and say, okay, you've stated what you needed to say, and we're going to say we don't need people working for our corporation that won't do the job they're being paid to do. I think it's that simple. And I'm hoping this is resolved quickly and cleanly. And I hope the airline fires this guy. They're going to get sued. They're going to lose a lot of money. And the only damage control I can think that they can do is to get rid of this pilot. He just ended his own career. I'm not sure why he did it, but he did it. I'm interested in hearing what you have to say about this, because like I said, I can't imagine how you're could have put a good spin on this story.